It all starts with being able to relate. If you can sit down with a family and see your own family in them and the struggles that you've gone through or your parents went through or your kids are going through, if you can connect those struggles to somebody else's struggles, then you're going to work hard for them. And that's always what's motivated you to get into public service. When we came into office, even before inauguration, we had seen a historic financial crisis. Irresponsibility on Wall Street had spread out to Main Street. We had to move fast, not just in 100 days. We had to move in the first month to get the Recovery Act passed. We're now in a situation where not only we've got an economic crisis, but we also have a public health crisis to boot. Tell me a little bit about how you're seeing the current economic crisis and how you're thinking about the economy right now.
Well, Mr. President, there's three pieces I see. One, we have got to sustain and keep people from going under forever. There's already 10,000 businesses that are not likely to open again, a significant number of small business and minority businesses.
Right.
Number two, when they're able to come back, they not only are able to keep their folks employed on a payroll, but they're able to cover overhead. They're able to cover the additional expenses. For example, the idea you're going to open without social distancing, masks, tests, and all these things, right, that costs a lot of money.
Those are added costs for
they're
small businesses.
Added cost.
Right.
And they should be able to have that added cost to be able to stay open,
right,
for the good of the country. But the next stage of this is going to be, if we're able to, if the stimulus can keep people afloat, then we have to deal with recovery.
Right.
And the recovery is building back, but not just building back, as you've been talking, now I've been talking about, building back better. We have to change the way in which we deal with allowing people an opportunity to make a living.
Right.
That includes child care, that includes making significant investments in infrastructure so people can make not just a living wage, but a union wage, making sure we have build up an entire new public health system, and making sure everybody has health care. And well, now we have a chance. We can add a public option now.
Right.
But this guy's in court in the middle of a pandemic trying to take away the protection for 100 million people who have pre-existing conditions. I don't think he has any sense of empathy. I don't think he can associate at all.
When the times call for moments of grace, moments of empathy, moments of compassion, President Trump fails every time.
This president has never been very good with empathy.
It's the totally missing empathy gene.
Trump is just deeply clinically incapable of summoning even the bare minimum amount of empathy required for the job.
You are so spot on the empathy point.
The president often struggles with projecting empathy, and I don't even know if it's struggles. I think he doesn't want to. I think he sees empathy as a show of weakness, and it's not something that he likes to do, which is antithetical to what almost any politician does.
Empathizing, showing some empathy because people are grieving and suffering, and it is the complete opposite of what the United States of America needs in the presidency right now.
As we know, he's never been comfortable or effective in that role as sort of consoler-in-chief, one to show empathy for the loss of Americans, those who have sick or have died or have lost their job.
Tries to express empathy and ends up campaigning on his economy. The president lacks empathy.
And the American people want leaders with integrity and empathy and compassion. And this president's utter absence of empathy and compassion, I don't think that's going to work in November for the American people.
It strikes me right now that there is a kind of absence from the top, particularly, of any expression of collective grief, collective mourning, collective honor, frankly, for people. And compassion and empathy for people that have struggled through this at this moment when we are facing this, it really is essentially unprecedented situation.
How do you run against the guy who on Monday proposes Medicare and Medicaid cuts and then disowns them on Tuesday or Wednesday, as I am betting he will?
I think you run on reality, and that's how I closed that debate on Friday night. That while he's boasting about things with the economy and going down to Mar-a-Lago and telling his friends, you just got a lot richer, there are a lot of people right here in New Hampshire and around the country that aren't feeling that prosperity. They're struggling to pay for their child care. They're struggling to fill their insulin prescription. So there are major, major problems right now for a lot of people. So that's why I finally figured out, after sitting through that impeachment hearing and watching the bravery of some of my colleagues like Mitt Romney and Doug Jones, that what this president lacks, in addition to a respect for the law and our democracy, he also lacks empathy. And that's why I came up with ending my debate with the story of FDR, that when he died, they put his body in the train and the regular guy is standing by the train tracks. And the reporter says to the guy who's sobbing, "Sir, did you know the president?" And he says, "No, I didn't know the president, but the president knew me. He knew me."